Hello, good evening. It's Tuesday evening at 5:15 and I'm Laura Coleman from Being Modern Meditation. And if you're watching this on the replay, I hope that wherever you are, you're finding some peace and calm right now. It's actually really still tonight. The last few nights that I've been out here doing meditations, there's been the most almighty wind, so it's really lovely to have a bit more peace and tranquility and stillness. So hi Helen, how are you? No wind today, Helen, so you haven't brought the wind with you today. And today, it's been a strange day for me. It's kind of been one of frustration and becoming aware of the fact that there's... Hi Pippa, nice to see you here. I was just saying, Pippa, that today for me has been quite a frustrating day in a way, in the sense that as I'm now kind of kicking back into being feeling more positive, and whereas last week I felt like I was in a bit of a slump after being poorly for a week, this week I feel raring to go. And of course, having children at home, if anybody else has got children at home, it's really challenging to actually get anything done of your own. And my two their sort of lessons have finished now for Easter holidays, so they are home and unoccupied, which means that there's a lot more that they need from me. And so there's that sense. And if you've got young children, or you've been around young children, they're not young actually, they're teenagers, but even still, there's a sense that you can't finish things that you start. So you start something and then somebody wants something or needs something, and so being able to stay on track and keep focused on what you want to focus on becomes really challenging. And I kind of noticed that sort of frustration in myself. And when I was meditating this afternoon, I was really sort of tapping into, okay, so how do I access that ability to keep coming back and keep recovering? Because that's really essentially what we have to do right now, is whatever hijacks us, whether it's an emotion or some external thing, like maybe you've got a house full of people, maybe you've got a house full of, maybe you've got an empty house, and so you've got the opposite challenge where you're distracted because you're out of routine. There's still a sense of needing to keep coming back. And it's a bit like any training, anything new. It's about creating a pathway that you can keep doing it. And so for me, I feel like I'm retraining myself in this new order of having the children at home all the time. And so the meditation tonight that we're going to do is really going to be about that process of retraining and just coming back, continually coming back. Because in many ways, with meditation, whatever your anchor is, whatever you're using as your focus, if you're doing a focused attention practice like we're going to today, the most important moment is that moment of noticing, that moment where we realise that we've gone off track and we can come back. That's what builds the pathway, that's what builds that capacity to stay with your attention and keep your focus. And it's a little bit like walking through long grass. I imagine it like that. So when you're walking through long grass for the first time, you barely make an indent and you can't really see where you've walked. But if you walk that path enough times, you can see, you flatten the grass and it becomes much easier to walk that path. And it's just like that with all of this training of the brain, is that the more times we come back, we notice we've been distracted and we come back. We notice we've been distracted and we come back, the easier it becomes. And the easier it becomes to notice that it's happened. So we're going to use the same techniques that we've used already, but I would just invite you to think about that moment of noticing. So that moment when you notice you've been distracted, particularly if you've had a day like I have where you felt distracted, you felt that sense of not being able to follow a train of thought, or getting distracted by the people around you or by events. See if you can really tune into that noticing moment and use that to also be kind and compassionate to yourself about the fact that you've been distracted. Because sometimes that moment of noticing, and this would be something interesting to tune in to whether or not this is happening for you. Sometimes in that moment of noticing, there's a judgment. There's that moment of, I shouldn't be distracted, I should be on track, I shouldn't be getting sidetracked or pushed off task. And maybe that's where the frustration or the anger or the whatever emotion comes up. So at that moment of noticing, we're noticing and we're letting go of the judgment and just accepting that right now I need to come back. And just being aware of what's there and really tuning into, am I judging? Is there expectation there? Without getting carried away by thoughts. So we will use the body and the breath as our way of being present and still, and I will guide you through how to do that. Now, if this is the first time that you've listened to this and you haven't had much meditation experience, there's a couple of things just to be aware of. Now, the first of those is that you are going to think in your meditation. As much as we like to think about meditation as being this calm, relaxing experience, sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes our mind kicks in with lots of thoughts when we close our eyes, and that doesn't mean that you're not doing it right. It also doesn't mean that it's not working. And so let go of the need for it to feel a certain way if you can, and just notice when you've been distracted. And even if you don't feel like your mind is settling all that much, or you can see all these little flies, even if you don't feel like your mind has settled all that much, over time in the meditation you will settle, and you will start to trigger that relaxation response in the nervous system, and which gives your body that chance to flick into rest and digest and healing and all the things that we actually need to equip ourselves with right now. So allow yourself to have a busy mind if that's what you've got right now. That's just how it is, accepting how it is. Coming back. And the second thing is to do with our posture. How do we need to sit? Is there some special way? And the answer is no. The only thing we're going to try and do is find a balance between active and relaxed. So we don't want to be fully lying down with our head back in this particular style of meditation. So we want to be aware of what's happening, but we also don't want to be so tense and rigid with that and trying to concentrate so much that we almost develop a kind of control over it. So we just want that middle place, that active but relaxed. So just feeling into that in your body. And otherwise there's no rules, there's no special way it needs to be. This is just a modern type of meditation where it really is about making it work in your life wherever you are and however you are today. So gently closing down the eyes and allowing yourself to settle into the space that you're in. And just noticing what you can hear in the room around you today. Are there sounds near to you? Are there sounds further away? Just moment by moment, become aware of what you can hear. And notice that there's part of you that's aware of that sound. And then there's the sound. And if your mind's already distracted, just using that noticing to come back. And knowing that every time you notice, you're training your mind, training that capacity to be where you choose, gently and without effort. Releasing tension from the nervous system. And just switching on that relaxation response. And I'll invite you now to stop and turn inwards. So away from that external focus, that doing, that rushing, that action that fills our days. And instead place your awareness gently on the fingertips. So letting your full focus just rest there on the very tips of the fingers. And you might still notice sounds or sensations or thoughts, and that's okay. Just try and keep your awareness on the fingertips even whilst those other things are there. And when you notice that you're no longer there, just coming back. And after a moment you might notice a gentle tingling or vibration in the fingers, like a gentle humming or buzzing. That's your nervous system responding to you turning inwards. conversation between your fingers and the nervous system. Your fingers preparing for movement. And if you don't feel anything, that's okay too. Just keep your awareness on the fingertips. Sometimes if we're not used to tuning in and turning inwards, it can take time for us to hear what's going on, that subtle vibration. But let go of trying. Let go of it needing to be a certain way. And just be with whatever is there moment by moment in the fingertips. And then see if you can also add your toes to your awareness now. So again, we're not trying to use effort, we're just gently expanding the awareness to let the toes in as well. Perhaps becoming aware of the big toe on each foot, and then spreading across each of the other toes. And still with our fingers in our awareness. So we have our fingers and our toes. Perhaps we can feel that same gentle humming or vibration in the toes as we do in the fingers. Perhaps you feel it more in the fingers than the toes. Perhaps it's more in one side or the other. Just really tune in to the exact sensations that are there. Trying not to imagine the sensations, trying to feel them moment by moment exactly as they are this time, in this moment. And when the mind wanders, remembering that point of noticing, that opportunity to come back, to make a choice, gently, without effort or judgment, coming back. And then we'll to go really slowly from the toes and the feet, spreading that awareness up the ankles, feeling where your clothes touch the skin, where your feet touch the ground. The awareness spreading up the calves and the shins, noticing if there's a temptation or a desire to race ahead, and seeing if you can slow down, keeping your awareness just travelling ever so slowly up those lower legs to the knees, and from the knees travelling along the thighs now, creeping up the thighs, noticing the chair underneath the legs or the floor, the top of the thighs, gently into the hips, perhaps feeling a slight sinking as that awareness cups the base of the spine. Aware of your whole leg now on each side. Is it possible to bring your attention back there, noticing what you feel this moment? And then we'll start from our hands, taking that awareness up the wrists and the forearms. Again, just becoming aware of whatever sensations are arising for you in this moment. Giving yourself permission to feel whatever you're feeling, but coming back to that awareness of the arms, to the crook of the arms, and travelling up the tops of the arms now. Really becoming aware of the feel of your clothes against your skin as you come up to your shoulders. Becoming maybe even aware of the air against your skin, on your hands or any parts of the body that are exposed. And feeling it spreading across the chest, down past the rib cage and into the belly, round the back, circling back up the back, feeling the shoulder blades. Again, just be aware of what comes up. If there's a sense of wanting to rush or push or do, can you just be right now in this moment, feeling your whole body right now, exactly as it is, and noticing whenever your mind takes you away, perhaps into thoughts of the past or the future, conversations or places. Perhaps it's become daydreamy when your mind takes you away, so it takes a while to notice that you're no longer with my voice and with your body. But when you do notice, allowing yourself to really gently and softly come back. So there's a kindness to it. That it's just that natural process of being distracted and coming back. There's an allowing of that. It's natural and inevitable. But you always have that chance, that moment of noticing, where you can choose to come back, to be with this moment, exactly as it is. Your whole body is in your awareness now. Noticing the top of the head, the forehead, the cheeks, and the jaw. Perhaps noticing even the weight of the tongue in your mouth. Your ears, back of the head. Maybe there's a gentle opening in the body now with your awareness, like a relaxation just beginning to emerge. Perhaps you're aware of other sensations in the body right now. So there's the awareness of your whole body. There's also areas where you can notice if there's tension or sensation. And see if you can notice without being taken away by it. Almost just having it in the background. So your awareness grows. So there's a container that your awareness is. And within that container, lots of things can arise all at once. So there's the awareness of the body, the awareness of sensations in the body, and the awareness of that moment when your mind is taken away from that awareness. So you can almost become aware of being aware. That space between you, that core of you, that being, and all of the other things, which is the doing. So the body, the things that arise in the body, the thoughts, the action of your day, they're all part of the doing. And that awareness, that being part of you, can do the noticing. It can be there with whatever arises. And there's a stability to that. So that no matter what comes up, you can hold that awareness. And we'll have a few moments of silence now, but we'll just focus on the breath to allow us a way to stay connected. So as you breathe in, label the experience rising. And as you breathe out, gently and softly labeling it falling in the mind to give you an anchor for your attention. Rising, falling. So whichever is the most obvious spot in your breath, whether that's the belly, the chest, or that cool air entering the nostrils or the mouth. Just land there with your attention, softly and gently, and continue to gently label the rising and falling. Rising, falling. Allowing the breath to begin to deepen again now. Just naturally, as you bring your awareness to the breath in the body, the breath will just start to deepen on its own. You'll feel that rise and fall of the chest just increasing. And we'll take 3 bigger than usual breaths now, so really expanding the lungs. Allow yourself to feel and hear the breath. And then letting the breath return to its natural rhythm. Beginning to return movement to the fingers and toes. Just noticing what that feels like as the fingers do the action that we've been thinking about. And then when you're ready, just gently blinking open the eyes. And the room is still here. It reappears in front of us. And just take a moment just to notice 3 things in the room that you're in. Just any 3 things. And then notice your feet on the floor or on the chair, wherever they are. Notice your hands, maybe they're in your lap. And then open your awareness once more just to take in your whole body experience now. How does it feel after that time of noticing? And see if you can take that quality of noticing into the rest of your day. And I hope that wherever you are tonight, you have some calm. And I will see you tomorrow at 5:15. Take care.